Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and it's Thursday. So, happy Thursday, my friends. Now, I'm going to get back to Tier 2 for a second, but I'm going to do the Tier 1 of this one tomorrow after I straighten this because that's bothering me. And again, this is a very fun build. It's very hero. It's very tech. So, it's like two of my favorite things put together. And again, it's based on my favorite elemental hero, the elemental hero Sparkman. So, just real quick, let's get into this. Again, this is the tier 2 variant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the die for 2 up there, the whole video, just so that nobody gets confused. And then tomorrow, I will go ahead and I'll put the tier 1. I'll put a die up there. It'll just be a number 1. And this way you'll know the difference between the casual and the competitive. So, just real quick, I'm going to finesse that again. The skill I'm going to be using is the Heroes Unite Fusion skill. So, again, maybe it's been a second since we use this, although it really hasn't. Celestial's been using this with her deck for quite some time now. You activate this during the main phase, discard a card, then essentially you go through the effect of making the card that was discarded activate like it's polymerization, and it can only be used for an elemental hero fusion. And it's really all we need to know because we're not going to be doing anything big. We're literally going to do little 2-step things. So the rest of the effect is a little hit or miss for us. So first things first, you guys have to go with 3 of my boy Sparkman because he is the major catalyst. He is the crazy glue of this deck, and he's what's going to bind the whole strategy together. And then the next 6 cards are going to be copies of Goddess of the Third Eye and Versago the Destroyer. So this way we have our fusion substitution cards. So these are going to substitute for anything in the material that is not Sparkman, but one at a time. Okay, so again, remember, this is tier 2. It's 9 monsters. That's all the monsters we're going to use. We're going to go to our spells. So we're going to be using 3 copies of A Hero Lives. A couple ways to use this. You can do this, like it says on here, if you control no face-up monsters, and that's the important part. You can control monsters. They may not be face-up. So if I had to set Goddess or I had to set Versago, and for some reason my opponent didn't attack, I could, in fact, I could start my next turn by drawing, activating the Hero Lives, pay half your life points, grab Sparkman, generate him to the field, and then flip over my fusion substitute, pitch a card from my hand to activate the fusion, and then pick and choose from my elemental heroes who I want to see bust out onto the scene as my hero. So again, we get 3 of these. Next, we're going to use a copy of Book of Moon. That's going to be one of our 3 ofs. We're going to use a copy of Cosmic Cyclone. That is our second of our 3 ofs. And again, it's just the common sense. We need to get away from that one attack and let them survive. Or we need to clear the back row so we can guarantee our counterattack is going to work either way. Now, one of the things that I was asked to do was, could you mix heroes and evil heroes? And the answer is absolutely a resounding yes. So that's what the next theme of my next 4-ish builds is going to be. So we are going to be using 2 copies of Dark Calling. Once we get our heroes set up into the discard pile, that's when I'm going to banish them with the effect of Dark Calling. Dark Calling allowing me to special summon anything that would be used, could be fusion summoned using Dark Fusion. I can now use this Dark Calling instead, banishing them. It's essentially Miracle Fusion for the evil heroes. And again, this teams up with this skill card so good. And really allows you to generate multiple names on the field from the same handful of cards. So tech-wise, this is really cool. One thing Celestial's been trying to beat me over the head about is every time I play one of these types of decks, I only fuse once. And she's right. That's a big no-no. So we're also going to include a single copy of the regular polymerization in the main. Just this way you get your 2 shots of fusion. And worst case scenario, you could always use this to pitch for that, but that's kind of pointless and weird. But if you had 2 Dark Callings, you could pitch a Dark Calling. It's treated as polymerization. Then you could go ahead and rip into the second Dark Calling and get your secondary fusion going. We are going to use our 1 of for our reinforcement of the army. Again, it's just another way to guarantee that we get into the Sparkman. Because if we break down the ratios real quick, it's a 20 card main deck. This gives us Sparkman. These gives us Sparkman. These are Sparkman. 7 out of 20. You multiply by 5 if that's easier for you to come up with 35% of your deck is Sparkman or cards that get you Sparkman. And then 6 of 20, or again, you multiply that by the 5. 30% of your deck is fusion substitutions. So again, it allows you to sort of bring math into this to where you can actually feel and see the numbers and be like, yeah, well, those are actually really good numbers. And again, because this is going to be the main deck, I decided to go with 2 copies of Shrink. Just because with Lost Wind, sometimes your opponent's just going to normal summon and walk over cards like Versago and Goddess. So Shrink gives them more of a fighting chance for more sustainability. So real quick, my friends, go ahead, screenshot this, or, pause the video, make some notes, get this deck list going, and I'll be right back in a second with the rest. So just hold on. All right, and I'm back, and I really hope that second didn't feel like forever because it took a minute to clean up the table here. Let's get into the fusion substitutes. Let's get into the fusion deck. Let's see what I'm going to have you guys playing. So first and foremost, we are going to be playing a single copy of the hero Dark Bright. So normally this is Spark plus Necro Shade or Spark plus Material. And again, if it attacks defense monster, inflict piercing. When attacks, change to defense at the end of the damage step. If is destroyed, target a monster the opponent controls, destroy the target in response. So, Dark Bright, not terrible, and he's going to get some work done for us. Next up, the elemental hero, Plasma Vice. Normally, Spark plus Blade Edge, but again, we've got 6 substitutes lining up to fuse with our main man. And again, when attacks defense, can inflict piercing. We may choose to discard 1 card, target an attack position card the opponent controls, destroying the target. So this is actually very useful. And as long as it is an Obelisk the Tormentor, he can go after some cards that are relatively larger than himself. Next up, and again, Celestial Duelist kind of snuck this out of my notebook for you guys. The elemental hero, Shining Flare Wingman. And again, I'm not going to get super big in this deck, but it is the fact that even though we're playing Sparkman, we get a slightly stronger than Flare Wingman. It will do the same exact everything as Flame Wingman, plus gain 300 attack for every elemental hero monster card that's in our graveyard, including any other fusions we may have made, since we are now also running polymerization. So do keep that in mind. And last of our elemental heroes will be the Thunder Giant. And again, normally this would be Spark pairing off with our boy Clayman. Once per turn, you may discard a card, target a monster on the field with original attack less than the attack of this, destroy that. And again, this is really just about gaining some advantage to get the direct attack and go for game. But there are going to be some times where you just choose him to be fun. Honestly, Plasma Vice still probably the better option, but I did want to rainbow him out. So get him as many versions of himself as possible. And then because we have 2 Dark Callings, I'm teching in 2 copies of the evil hero, Lightning Golem. So again, normally Spark and Clay, this is the Dark Thunder Giant, which is weird because even though he's an evil hero, guys, he's a light attribute fiend. So the light must be because of the electricity. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with it. He looks really cool. The effect here is must be played with the or special summoned with the Dark Fusion. Dark Calling will act as fusion. Once per turn, you may target 1 monster on the field, destroy the target. One reminder, you don't discard a card to do this. That's why he's in here twice. That's why Dark Calling's in here twice. Lightning Golem plus another fusion is realistically the way you want to go. And this can punch through quite a few sets of field setup. So do enjoy this. Moving into our side for games 2 and 3, we have our third of our 3-ups in another copy of Book of Moon. We've got our second polymerization spell card. And then just to keep things more standard, I put the Lost Winds in here. as well as the windstorms of Itaqua, because again, this is just my basic insurance policy against the Cloudians. So again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I know this one feels a little bit different. It's more tech, it's more hero, and tomorrow there will be a tier 1 version of this. So do stick around for that tomorrow. And again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and if you have, do consider supporting the channel. Easy things to do is to like and comment. Maybe we've earned it today, so maybe go ahead, go that step further. Click the subscribe button. And maybe you guys want to help support us a little more directly, at which point you can help us buy more sleeves and again start save up for the next Speed Duel expansion by donating to us at thebuymeacoffee.com. The link will be down below. But of course, you don't really have to do that. The thing that you have to do, and this is not a discussion, this is not up for debate, you have to do this because you watched this long. You have to go out and you have to enjoy the rest of your day. And you have to do something for yourself, okay? You got to go do something that you enjoy, and you have to make yourself do that. You've got to schedule it in, my friend. If you don't, it's just never going to happen. Go do something fun, okay? You have my permission. Just go do it. And then maybe come back tomorrow and check out the tier 1 version of this. Until then, until next time, my friends, take care and have a wonderful day. See you next time.